Now, this worked for me for a lot of things, big things, small things, my relationship, people, money. It works for me because it helps me eliminate the need completely to change anything. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel where I share with you the things I learned from my own journey and practical manifesting tips so that you could be a doer, start applying, and live your best life. Today, I am very excited to talk to you about my personal manifesting process. This is the way I approach all of my manifestations, relationships, people, money, you name it. This is the approach I teach people when I talk to them one-on-one as well. I will also share with you how you should look at techniques and the role they play in manifesting. If you like my content, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. It really helps me spread the message and help more people. If you would like to talk to me one-on-one, you can find the information down below in the description box. Comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions. Now, first of all, let's start with a quote straight from the man himself. It would just be really weird to talk about living in the end without going straight to the source. So this is a quote from Neville. I could tell you unnumbered stories of this nature, so here I say, dwell in the end. The end is where we begin. For if I've seen my name on the marquee, that's the end. I don't wait for the incident to take place in my world to move. I dwell in the end. So, if I go to the very end, what would it be like were it true? Here, what I want to highlight is the part where he says, I don't wait for the incident to take place in my world to move. In manifesting, you want to change your mind about the circumstances without banking on the circumstances to change so that you could feel a different way. You want to go for the feeling. Give it to yourself. And then circumstances will reflect that, but that part is not your job. So your only job here is really just to go for the feeling that you want and step into the version of yourself that you would like to be. Now, I would like to share with you how I apply this concept because as you guys know, my channel is all about practical tips. Now, I want to start by saying that I take this concept seriously. When I decide to live in the end for something, I also make the decision that my present moment is now the end. This is why in a lot of my posts and videos, I tell you guys again and again that to live in the end is to live in the now. Now, I understand that this could be a bit hard to wrap your head around for some people. So I'm going to explain how I found this trip with my personal story. So, back in the days, and this was many years ago, but back in the days when I would manifest things like texts and calls from specific people, every time the text or the call came in, I started to notice how I would go instantly from being anxious and ruminating on these worst case scenarios of how things could go wrong and how I'm always abandoned, not being able to focus on the things I need to do or things around me, to once the texts and calls finally come in, this instant relief. And before I even open those texts, sometimes I wouldn't even do it right away, but I would instantly start looking around me and become so interested in my surroundings and just become super engaged in everything that's going on around me. In the present moment, it felt like I could finally live again and breathe again. Even staring at a wall became much more interesting somehow because I was fulfilled in the now, at least for the next few moments before I would start getting anxious again. So I want to stress this because I know for a fact that I'm not the only one who's had this experience. Once I got what I wanted, and arrived at my end, the first thing I automatically started to do was to make the most out of my now moment. So, back to my process. I start literally at the end. By that, I mean I start with a perspective like this. Even if I might not know how or why my current reality is exactly what my end looks like, or exactly what is leading me to my end is already here and now. My end is inevitable. Now, you know how people say that you could only connect the dots looking back? That is true in a lot of these cases. So, when I cannot connect the dots in the moment and bridge the gap between the now and the end logically, I go, there exists a perspective somewhere in my consciousness on this now moment and this exact set of circumstances that would make it all make sense. And that could explain why this now moment is exactly what I want, even if I might not see it right now. So once I make the decision that my now is somehow my end, even if I might not know how, I allow myself to embrace my now moment fully because it's already my end. Now I am aware that you're all interested in making things happen. So here's what the next steps are. I then move on to intend to receive this perspective and to receive the realizations I would need to connect the dots. Now, here's the interesting part. Once I set the intention to receive the perspectives and realizations, what happens usually is that these perspectives and realizations come to me in the form of sometimes my actual manifestation, sometimes inspirations to do a certain techniques in a certain way, sometimes in the form of affirmations, sometimes in certain actions that might not even seem related to my manifestations. I want to stop here and just explain real quick. This is how I do techniques, and I think this is how techniques should be done. I let them come to me when I am inspired from an aligned state. You never ever want to do techniques from a place of needing to make things happen. Because guess what? When you're in a state of needing to make things happen, everything that you do from that state just manifests more need and more lack. So that is it. That's how I manifest everything. Now, this worked for me for a lot of things. Big things, small things, my relationship, people, money. It works for me because it helps me eliminate the need completely to change anything. You never ever want to start from a state of needing things to change. What you want to do is to make the assumption first and foremost that nothing needs to change and manifest the realization as to why. And that realization usually is the actual manifestation or what you need to do to get the manifestation. Some might even call that inspired actions. That's what it is. That's what inspired actions are. Things that you need to do to get there, but you won't know when you're doing those things because you're not trying to make things happen when you're doing them. You already made the decision in the first step. The things already happened. Lastly, I just want to say that manifesting is really not a process of changing. If you start from a place where you need things to change, and oh my god, this is like the third time in the same video that I'm talking about this, but if you start from a place where you need things to change and you do techniques and everything to make things change, that makes it very difficult because the foundation is off to begin with. I am not saying you can't ever manifest anything doing that, but in my experience, and especially for the bigger things, the things that actually matter to you, not just a cup of coffee or a ladder, there is a better way. So that was it. That was my personal manifesting process. I really hope it helps you in your journey, and if it did, comment down below and let me know. And if you have made it to the end, I just want to say thank you. If this video gave you an aha moment, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. It really helps me spread the message. If you would like to talk to me one-on-one, you can find the information in the description box below. Comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions. Until next time, happy manifesting!